Welcome back to the Could Try Harder channel. This is part 2 of our windscreen surround or front scuttle repair process, whatever you want to call it. Last time around we made a start. This time around we're going to finish it off from the welding perspective at least. So I had to cut the part in two. Didn't want to go in one piece. Either I'd misshapen it from cutting it out of the original panel or some other issue. Nonetheless, here we go. We are welding this in. I've got a couple of cameras here, so this is something a bit new. Bought a second GoPro Hero 5, which you can probably see up there on the roof, and I'm going to try a couple of different camera angles for the same thing. Going to try and cut in different shots from different angles. So let's see how well this works. This is going to be a bit of a challenge from an editing perspective, but wish me luck. So I'm tapping away here with this body hammer. I'm trying to get the panel to line up as best as possible before welding it, which means a lot less grinding afterwards. I've found that instead of trying to fit the panel perfectly beforehand on these kind of curved panels where you're taking it out of a repair panel to kind of weld it into your original car, it makes more sense to get it somewhere close and then sort of weld in one end and tap along as you go to make sure that it fits all the way along. And this seems to work out just better for me, really. I actually end up with a much better result. Okay, so what you're witnessing here is me realising that in between doing the first piece and the second piece, I've forgotten to put the holes for welding, for plug welding in the second piece. And of course now I've got it completely heavily tack welded on one end. And so to cut it all back out and start again is going to be a proper pain. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Okay, so what I've decided to do here is to grab the tin snips and cut in some V-shaped slots in the top of the panel where it fits against the inner seam. This is, admittedly, it's not the best way. Obviously, ideally I'd be able to get in there with a hole punch, but I can't, and so this is my attempt, next best thing. Doesn't turn out too bad in the end. Happy days. I think we got something like 5 V-shaped slots in here, and then I'm going to tap it back down with the body hammer to get it somewhere close, using mole grips or welding grips to press it back in place, and then towards the end I'm tapping it down with a screwdriver and a hammer to align the area where the glass sits in, so it all sits nice and flush with the original part. And so here it is, you can see the finished job. I'm pretty pleased with it. Let me know what you think. I trimmed down that top seam section, it was overlapping the top one a bit. We've now finished welding up the scuttle. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can have a look at that. Just painted in some matte black for now. It's not perfect. There will need to be some more filler, but the whole car is going to get painted. So we just want to get some paint on it for now, so that it's not going to rust again in the future. We don't want any more holes to weld up, right? So here we go. If you're ready, let's flip it around, have a look. So now we've got this windscreen out of the box on the ground, ready to get the new rubber on it. But before we do that, we need to get rid of all of the rust and scale that's in the old rubber. We're going to reuse the old rubber because, to be honest, it's already the right shape. New rubbers are notoriously difficult to actually get the windscreen to fit in if you're doing it yourself. So if you can use your old rubber, you are much better off doing so. No need to warm it up or anything like that. We're just going to clean out the rust and get it on. This is called stringing a window, and it only works for old cars with rubbers like this. Nowadays they glue them in. You have to cut them out with like what I call a wire saw, I think, and glue a new one in. Whereas with these you can push out the rubber, the windscreen's okay, and push it back in. Not spun.
So which is usually the tough bit?
This is the tough bit, what do you mean?
I mean, to get it in, which is the hardest bit of the windscreen to push in?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Corners normally.
Yeah.
Alright. So, want to be on the inside or the outside?
What do you think would be the best bit for me to do?
Outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
So outside is
all the pressure's on the inside.
Yeah.
Even though you're applying the pressure on the outside. The pressure is on the inside for me to get it over the lip.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember doing this in the van, and
oh, yes.
it was quite difficult.
It's an awkward job.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much that. So windscreen is in. Next job will be to refit all the windscreen wiper motor, make sure all that works, and then we can move on to rebuilding that front panel with headlights. I need some headlight buckets actually. The original ones are very, very rusty and have been just painted over rust. So I need to replace those and then rebuild that slam panel, fit the front wings, bonnet, and get the bumper back on, and then in theory we are potentially ready for an MOT. So wish me luck, and thanks very much for watching. See you on the next one very soon. Cheers, bye.